What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar back here with GenJag.com, and it wasn't pretty, guys. It wasn't pretty at all. The Jaguars week 1 wound up going on the road out to the New York Giants, and they wound up beating them by a score of 20-15. Now, like I said, it wasn't pretty, but at the end of the day, man, if you've been a Jaguars fan as long as I have been, it can be hard to find wins in this league, and we found a way to win this game. We won by a score of 20-15, and we won this one, man. And now we are 1-0, sitting at the top of the AFC South, all by ourselves in first place. So in this game, there were a lot of takeaways, a lot of good, a lot of bad, and we will discuss it all right now.
There they go, packing stadiums, the shady spitzes flow. Nuts they go, macadamia, they go so ballistic.
Now, going into this game, probably my biggest key of the game was a particular matchup. Like I told you guys that I felt confident that our pass rush was going to be able to get pressure on Eli Manning, which they did. I felt confident that our cornerbacks in our secondary were going to be able to stop the Giants, like receiving core and whatnot. They did for the most part, but my biggest thing was the whole matchup between Myles Jack and Saquon Barkley. I thought that was a huge X factor just because I looked at it and said, you know, Myles Jack is playing a whole new position in middle linebacker and base downs. You know, I thought there were some shaky things that happened in the preseason. I just thought, man, if this guy has a big game, we have a really good chance. And what happened? Myles Jack is now a candidate for AFC Defensive Player of the Week. The dude balled out. I mean, he is definitely like my player of the game. He went out there, man. He was sideline to sideline. They just suffocated Saquon Barkley. You know, this guy only had one bad play. And what happened that one bad play? Saquon Barkley ran up the sidelines for a touchdown. That was their only touchdown of the game for the Giants. And, you know, you got to think if Myles Jack has 4, 5, 6 bad plays, the score could be a lot different. And man, he was the real X factor of this game. Obviously, he had that pick 6, that defensive score, you know, led by Yannick Ngakoue getting some pressure on Eli Manning. Avery Jones putting the ball up in the air with a batted pass, and Myles Jack being instinctive, being in the right place at the right time, and taking that in for a touchdown. So big game by Myles Jack, man. I am so happy with the way he played, and I'm not going to lie, I was a little worried about him, man. I was worried that he would not play very well, you know, transitioning to a new position, but he played outstanding. Now, obviously, the big topic of conversation, like going into this game, was Odell Beckham versus Jalen Ramsey. You know, everyone just kind of wants to see that one-on-one matchup. Now, you know, there was a lot of, I think it was basically split between man and zone, so it wasn't like they were going like one-on-one the whole game. And if you were to ask me, like, who won this matchup, you know, that's kind of what a lot of people are saying. And, you know, I'm not too sure, like, who actually won this matchup between Jalen Ramsey and OBJ. But, you know, if you were to ask me who won the matchup between OBJ and the Jaguars secondary, I'd probably say OBJ. I mean, OBJ balled out. He had like 11 receptions for 110 yards. There were a couple times where he, you know, we were playing basically cover 4 a lot of time, and he was able to go back deep on us, and he actually beat, you know, a couple of our defensive backs. And, you know, Eli Manning overthrew a couple of them. A couple of them we had some smart penalties where if we didn't commit like a pass interference kind of penalty, it would have been bad. He could have potentially gotten a touchdown. But, you know, Odell Beckham Jr., he balled out. He was definitely probably the MVP of the Giants offense. And, you know, that was to be I shouldn't say to be expected. I mean, I knew Odell Beckham was going to be getting his fair share of catches, you know, just because he is a top 4 receiver in this league. In my opinion, he's a number 3 receiver in the league. But at the end of the day, man, he didn't get any touchdowns, so I guess that's kind of good out of that. Now, the defense definitely kind of won us this game. I mean, Eli Manning in the first half, he was very, very efficient. He only had like one incompletion, and one he kind of popped out to Odell Beckham Jr. when we kind of did an all-out blitz. But, you know, he was pretty efficient. But the thing about the defense, man, you know, while they were getting, you know, a few different passing plays like here and there, we did not let up any touchdowns. You know, that is a big thing, man. We kept them in front of us. We were just giving up field goals as opposed to touchdowns. And that's kind of the way we won this, man. It was a good showing by the defense. Calais Campbell balled out. Malik Jackson balled out. really our whole entire defensive line. I mean, even Lorente McCray went in there filling in for Dante Fowler, and he did a terrific job. Eric Flowers was kind of a revolving door out there. Yannick Ngakoue, I don't believe he got any sacks, but he did get in there and get a lot of pressure, so good stuff out of him. Nate Solder was a lot better of an offensive tackle than Eric Flowers is. So all in all, the defense, it was a good showing. Of course, they had their passing plays here and there, but the thing is, man, no touchdowns given up besides that one long run at the end or at the side of the field. And that's the thing about the Jaguars defense, man. They are susceptible to the big play. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened there with that long run. But they were overall really contained Saquon Barkley, and I really liked how they played, especially with the Jaguars' weakness is always talking about being susceptible to the run game, and the Jaguars really stopped that. I don't think. I mean, if you look around at some of the teams that we're going to be playing, I don't know any teams that are going to be having more weapons than this Giants team had. I mean, they had Odell Beckham Jr., Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, obviously. So, good job by the defense to stop them and hold them to only 15 points. And one last thing I want to say before I kind of transition over to the offense that I found pretty interesting was Ronnie Harrison, our third-round pick out of Alabama as safety. We all kind of wondered what kind of role could he potentially have. Like, is he going to be able to get on the field? He was on the field for 24% of the defensive snaps, which was pretty crazy. He was playing like a lot of box safety kind of spots. So, that's pretty interesting to see like going forward how that all progresses. Now we'll move on to kind of the uglier part of the game, and that was the Jaguars offense. There's really nothing new with that. Now, the Jaguars offense, I thought in the first half and really up until kind of Leonard Fournette got hurt, I thought they played really well. Leonard Fournette was in there. He was able to run really well. We also had, he was opening up the play action that we had. We were doing really well in the passing game. We were doing pretty well, I thought, until Leonard Fournette got hurt. And obviously, he had some kind of hamstring thing go on. And apparently, the word is that, he could play on Sunday. Marone says it's like a minor injury, but I'm not going to lie, this worries me. I don't like a hamstring injury. This is something that's going to probably linger all year. I hate these soft tissue things, and it really, really sucks. And, when it all comes down to it, man, Leonard Fournette is proven to be pretty injury prone. This guy has been getting injured ever since college. It took him one regular season game to get injured, and it sucks. Like, our offense is built around Leonard Fournette. It's built around a power run game. Guys like Leonard Fournette are going to be opening up the game, for guys like Corey Grant to get in there. It's going to open up, the play action where we get a tight end on drag route. It just opens up so many things, and you saw this game, man. After he got hurt, we didn't do much, man, and it sucks, man. I hate how he got injured, man. Like, I think this is going to hurt us all year. I think the Jaguars are kind of underplaying this whole thing. We'll kind of see what happens with that. We haven't picked up any running backs, so he might be able to play on Sunday, but like I said, it just like sucks. Now, Bortles was a guy who I thought played pretty well in the first half, but definitely cooled down in the second half. Like, I thought he did some things nice. He had a really good throw to Keelan Cole at the beginning of the game. I thought he had a good pass to Seferian-Jenkins that was going to be a touchdown until it got negated by an Andrew Norwell hands to the face kind of penalty. But he's just got to have better vision down the field. He really needs to work on the back shoulder throw, especially to Moncrief. That's something that has to be there. Moncrief, man, he's going to have to step up in a big way. And, I think at the end of the day, man, we have an average at best quarterback, and we have an average at best receiving core. We don't have a lot of experience in the receiving core, man. Obviously, Dante Moncrief's going into his fifth year, but you look at guys, Keelan Cole's only going to his second year. Dede Westbrook going into his second year. He was on the IR the whole first half of his first season. And then DJ Chark's a rookie. He's only really being used for special teams. So, man, like, this passing game, man, like, I think Leonard Fournette, man, when he's in there, it just opens it up so much more. The play action opens up the run game. And, I like guys like TJ Yellen, but, I just think he's a lot better if he's playing as more of a complement to Leonard Fournette. And, while we're kind of talking about running backs, we had Corey Grant in there. And let me check something, because I believe Corey Grant, he only played, 6 snaps. So 10% of offensive snaps. That's not very much, especially you would think he got more with Leonard Fournette getting injured. But, one thing that I liked that I saw the preseason was we kept running these 2 running back sets where we have, Corey Grant or like Leonard Fournette or something like that in the backfield. we completely went away from that. Like, I don't even remember really seeing that formation. And I don't know if they're, just trying to condense the playbook a little bit and open up a little more as the season goes on. But that's something that I want to see more of, just because I think it gives you a lot of options. I like the Jaguars to run more of an RPO kind of thing. We obviously saw Blake Bortles have a 40-plus yard run off of an RPO. RPO gives you the ability to either hand off to the running back, maybe do a bubble screen to D.D. Westbrook, or, Blake Bortles to kind of run it. It just gives you so many options. It doesn't force you to throw the ball downfield to, where an inaccurate quarterback is trying to force it anywhere. I just think that will really help us open up the offensive line. And I also want to touch a little bit on the offensive line play. I didn't think it was all that good. You have guys like Andrew Norwell. This is a guy that didn't even allow Cam Newton to be touched last year, and he goes out there and he forces Bortles to get sacked. He got his ass whooped. And then next thing you know, Bortles throws an interception on a 2nd and long the very next play. You saw a little later in the game, he has a hands to the face penalty that negated a beautiful touchdown pass to Austin Seferian-Jenkins. I wouldn't usually be critical of a player like that, but he's a man. We paid him top guard money, an offensive guard money. A lot of people are critical, is an offensive guard worth that money? Well, an offensive guard is worth that money if you play at a level that you played last year when you're an all-pro. You need better stuff out of him. I know he was injured a lot, but, we'll see how he progresses. Also, Cam Robinson, this guy's inconsistent as hell, man. He goes from, pancaking a dude to next thing you know, getting his ass whooped. He needs to be better. He had, 2 or 3 false starts penalties. He had a stupid, unnecessary roughness, after after a play was over. He's basically like a Dante Fowler on the offensive line. He's just got to get smarter mentally. He's a player, he has all potential in the world, but he needs to be better. It's just, I just thought our offensive line was average at best. The quarterback was inconsistent. The wide receiving core wasn't all that great either. And obviously our run game, I like our running backs. I thought TJ Young played well. Leonard Fournette played well until he got out. But, the offense, it just needs to be better, man. And one thing, man, I got to put our offensive line, man, we have the potential to be a top 5 offensive line. Play at that level. Get some, holes open in the run game. This is a team that's built around the run game. It's built around playing great defense. It's built around kind of Blake Bortles being a game manager quarterback. I thought he was that. You look around the league, there were quarterbacks throwing multiple damn interceptions. Blake Bortles threw 1 pick. He wasn't really throwing the ball in that dangerous, in many dangerous situations. He did miss a couple of passes short and whatnot, but we need better play on the quarterback. We need better play on the wide receivers, and we need better play on the offensive line. The defense, I thought, played well, but that's kind of what we need out of that. Now, when it comes to the special team, obviously Lambeau was perfect. What was he like? 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 no, he was 2 for 2 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points. That was good. I thought Logan Cooke was sketchy as hell. This was his first NFL game. It was rainy conditions. I should say it about the offense. The passing game, it probably was a little bit affected by just the cold rain that was there. I was there. It was very uncomfortable. 60 degrees, cold, rainy. Wasn't a very good day to really throw the rock around, especially with a team that's not really used to that. But Logan Cooke, he's a rookie playing his first game. I thought he had an excellent putt at the end of the game, which led to a muck punt. You see a lot of these punters now basically kick it to where it's spinning backwards. It's an awkward, when you look at it in the air, it's doing awkward stuff. Obviously, he had to kind of go to his knees to try to get it, which led to a muck punt, which led to the Jaguars to win that game. But overall, DJ Chark was really good in special teams. We played really sound special teams. Mickens returned one that wound up being a block in the back later on. Just fair catch that. Don't make too many special things happen. But special teams play decent. Just punters got to do a little better next game. And hopefully he does with a little bit better conditions. And I also want to touch on the referees. The referees, it was, if we're going to bash them when they're bad, I think you got to kind of give them credit when they're good. I thought they did call a good game. I didn't think there was any bogus calls that they really made. There was one call at the end where DJ Hayden, of all people, wound up being kind of the hero where he forced, the very last turnover on downs from the Giants, and he forced incompletion. Was it a pass interference? It could have gone either way. It's a huge judgment call. It didn't look like he really interfered with the guy too much, but at the same time, he didn't really turn his head around. But that's a judgment call. Call it what you want, but at the end of the day, man, DJ Hayne wound up making the kind of play of the game of the defense. Not play of the day, but obviously he forced Eli Manning to throw his last pass of the game before that month punt. So that's kind of the recap of this game, man. Like I said, it wasn't pretty, but it kind of reminded me of the Buffalo Bills game where the Jaguars just said, hey, where the defense, we trust him to not really give up anything. And then that's kind of what happened. Now you can't do that next week against the Patriots, man. If we're only up 5 points, we can't just be running up the ass crack of Brandon Linder the whole game. We need to be a little more aggressive, force the ball downfield a little bit more, and play with a little bit more of an open playbook. But good things came out of this game. I'd rather winning ugly is still a good win. You know what I mean? And you honestly learn more from winning a bad game, winning a bad ugly game, than just blowing a team out 41-14. We got a lot to work on. We got to clean up the penalties. We had over 100 yards worth of penalties. Got to clean that up. Even though I did think that the pass interference plays on the defense were touchdown saving plays, and obviously both of those led into only 3 points each. But yeah, man, Jaguars win. They move on to 1-0 at the very top of the AFC South, all by ourselves. Ain't nobody up in here with us, man. We running the business. Next week we have a very, very tough test with the New England Patriots, so can't wait to recap that one. Can't wait to preview that one with you guys. But for now, man, let's sit back, relax, enjoy this 1-0 record. It's a victory week for us as we prep on to play the New England Patriots. So thank you guys all so much for watching my video, of course, and keeping this channel around, keeping this channel popular. Really appreciate that, and I'll see you guys in my next vid.